Good morning, everybody, and welcome to ESO Daily. I'm your host, Mr. Craven. All right, guys, so last week I told you I was working on a new Sorc Tank build, and it is finally here. Now, disclaimer, I still have yet to get my Undaunted and everything scaled up, but it's finally here. The generator. This is a build I've been working on for about a week and a half. I missed out on the double XP, but, I finalized it, got it done. It was my last character slot on the PS4, and I am just so happy today to present this build to you. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Now, we're going to go ahead and get into the character sheet initially. You're going to see that my max magicka is at 21,000. Magic recovery currently is at 1,180. Keep in mind, I will show you a couple tricks. Max health is currently at 34,385. Now, keep in mind, I don't have my Undaunted passives as of yet. Once I obtain my Undaunted passives, this will go up to slightly over 40k. So keep that in mind. I will be over that 40k mark. I always push that on my tanks. This tank will be no exception to that rule. Max stamina is at a nice 20,011. Max stamina recovery is at 1,041. We are currently at magicka allocated at 30, health at 34. We are using the Mage Mundus, and we are also using triple stat max food. Now, keep in mind, I'm Imperial with this build. You can go with any race that you want. I really did like the Imperial, though, with this because of the benefits to the passives for the idea of the build. So that's why I went with the Imperial on this. I just really like the idea of going Imperial on the Sorc Tank. It just worked out really nice. All right. Now, going into the back bar, nothing changes because we're both sword and board on both ends. Now, I know a lot of people will be like, why didn't you go with maybe a frost staff or something? I'll get into that, but it is sword and board on both ends. Now, let's get into the gear and show you guys what I'm rocking here. Okay, so believe it or not, I'm going to be using Shock's exoskeleton set. Why am I using this set? Why? It's very simple. The Mag Sorc has a lot, and I mean a lot of magicka based utilities. So I'm going to need a lot of more magicka, and also the abilities that I'm using limits my bar space. So what the Shock's exoskeleton does, it gives me max health, it gives me spell damage, it gives me spell crit, but the biggest boon to this set is the minor heroism at all times. While I'm in combat, I'm generating one ultimate every 1.5 seconds. Now, please keep that in mind. Also, the other set we're going to be running is the Curse of the Dragon. That's going to give me magic recovery, healing taken, max health, and reduces the cost of ultimates by 15%. That is huge for the Sorcerer, right? Why? I'm going to show you, because we're going to look at Power Stone. Power Stone's reducing 15% of ultimate cost along with Dragon. That's a 30% cost reduction. Add that with the minor heroism at all time. With Bloodspawn, I'm generating so much ultimate so fast, it can't be contained. This is why I always tell people, when you look at endgame tanks and you bypass the Sorc, you're insane. No other tank has the fastest uptime on Warhorn rotations, bar none. Bar none. Not even the Nightblade with this type of configuration can keep up with the Sorc. It just can't happen. And I love that about the Sorcerer tank. Love it. So, anyways, let's finish getting into the sets here. Okay, so we're going to be also, like I said, we'll go piece by piece. Shock Sword. Decisive. Remember, I'm using the Shock's exoskeleton. What Decisive is going to allow me to do is have a 18% chance to gain an additional ultimate every time I gain ultimate. That's huge. I want to take advantage of that. But it's also important to keep in mind that I got it glyphed with Crushers. Crushers is an effect that doesn't stack. Yes, it has a cooldown, but you don't want to try to go ahead and just refresh it and everybody be on the same cooldown. It's just best if the tank just goes ahead and puts the Crusher so DPS can go with increase or poisoning chance fire, whatever they're going to do. So it's just best to take the Crushers and apply it to the tank. Okay, so we have the Shock's exoskeleton shield. This is stamina infused. We have the Shock's exoskeleton axe, Crushers, decisive. We have another Shock shield infused, once again stamina. Now keep in mind, my health has already been allocated into my CP points, into my my attributes. So I've taken that into consideration. All right, so stamina. Okay, blood spawn mask, sturdy, max stamina, ideal. Remember what going ahead blood spawn is going to do for me. It's going to give me recovery, and when I take damage, I have a 6% chance to generate 14 ultimate and increase my physical and spell resistance by 6,225 for 6 seconds. This can occur every 6 seconds. That's what's really nice about Decisive. When blood spawn kicks in, guess what? That's right. I have a chance to once again gain additional ultimate. Curse of Dragon, infuse, stamina, ideal. Now remember what the Curse of Dragon does for me. You know, it's going to go ahead and reduce the cost along with Power Stone. Bloodspawn, Epilots, Divine, Magicka, ideal. Waste of Dragon, sturdy, stamina, ideal. Curse of Dragon, Divine, stamina, ideal. Greaves of Dragon, health. This is the only one I'm going to go ahead and leave the health. Remember, I wanted to offset that value just a little bit in the other pieces, so I went ahead and enchanted them stamina. This one I'm going to keep health. Sabatons of Dragon, sturdy, stamina, ideal. I also have Shock's exoskeleton, magic recovery, ideal. Shock's ring, stamina recovery, ideal. And another Shock's ring, magicka recovery, ideal. So, excuse me. So that's the gear. That's the setup. Now keep in mind, guys, that like I said, I don't have that Undaunted passive. Once the 6% applied, my values will also increase. Let's go ahead and get into the skills here. Primary bar, no surprise, Pierce Armor. Pierce Armor should be used on all tanks regardless, even if you're going to be using a ranged taunt. The major reason you want to go ahead and use this, it adds the Major Fracture and the Major Breach. That's going to go ahead and reduce physical and spell resistance along with your taunts. Empowering Ward. Now, I could use the Hardening Ward, but with this build, I really prefer Empowering Ward on Sorcerers more and more. Why? Because it offers group utility. It gives minor intellect to me as well as nearby allies. That comes in handy. Now, keep in mind also that the shield system on Sorcerers are a lot different than your other tanks. Most tank shield systems scale health. But unfortunately, the wards do not. They scale max magicka. That's why it's very, very, very important to go ahead and make sure your magicka is at a very nice amount. So you have a high-end health to take blunt damage, and you have your shield system to mitigate. And this shield is really doing well for 8,609 on top of block reduction. Okay, now the Unstable Clan Fear. I really like the Unstable Clan Fear for multiple reasons. One, it helps taunt. It has CC effect to it. Then on top of it, when I use it, it also heals 35% of my max health. But that's not all. When we go ahead and look into Daedric protection, I increase health and stamina recovery by 20% while I have a Daedric summoning ability slotted. That is huge. Now keep in mind, I still got to get this one, but also when you have a pet ability activated, your health is increased by 4%. Now for the Clan Fear, for the Sorc Tanks, that works out great because why? It's a little bit more meaty. It can survive. It gives that health boost, and on top of it, when you're using your ward, you're shielding the Clan Fear as well. Comes in really, really nice. I also have the Absorb Magic because if I get hit with spell projectiles, it's going to go ahead and absorb up to 19,255 damage from the next spell projectile cast at me. That's healing me 16% of my max health. Okay? Also healing me 16% of my max health. This is big against those encounters that you know there's going to be a projectile. It's a mitigating effect. Yes, it does have an 8% block cost reduction. Okay, that's why. But one of the major things, I go ahead, I use it for the block reduction, and also I'm going to go ahead and get that nice mitigating effect against spells. Now, no biggie here. I mean, no surprise. Bound armor. Why am I going to use bound armor? Simple. It's going to give me minor resolve and minor ward. That increases just the minor resolve, increasing my physical resistance by 1,320. Keep in mind that this is not morphed. I will be morphing this. But also, while it's activated, it increases my max magic up by 5%. Once again, that's very important for the Sorc Tank. Now, currently, I have Shield Wall because I'm morphing it. But in this build configuration, you can swap out ultimates very easily. You can use the Summon Atronach. Really nice for a group CC effect. Really, really nice. You can also use the Absorption Field. I like this, which is just have a CC effect, and then on top of it, it's healing my allies. So I pull the mobs, I go ahead and lay the Absorption Field. I'll probably slot that now just to show it in this video. And then Power Overload I don't use. So I either use the Atronach, I either use Absorption Field, you can use the Shield Ultimate, but they're all great. Okay, back bar. We're going to be using Inner Fire for a range taunt and activation for potential synergy. Okay, this will be getting morphed. It's not morphed yet. This will be getting morphed to the Magicka version, not the Stamina. We're going to be also using Restraining Prison as our CC effect. Now, keep in mind that bosses are going to be immune to this effect, but we still can go ahead and cast it on the boss to get the secondary passive effect to apply to our party members, because that will still hit our party. That's very important, because when we come down here, exploitation, even if the target is immune, it will apply the Minor Prophecy. That's increasing my and my party's critical rating by 657 for 10 seconds. Very important. So nice CC effect for the tank, as well as a utility in one. Really, really like that. Okay, once again, I have to keep the Clan Fear on both bars. We're also going to be using the Boundless Storms. Boundless Storms is great because it gives us the major resolve and the major ward, increasing physical and spell resistance by 5,280. It's also going to grant us major expedition. That increases our movement speed by 30%, allowing us to keep ahead of our party members to keep the taunt going. Now, once again, bound armament has to be on both bar, but this is the big one for the Sorc Tank is the Warhorn. Remember, guys, now look at this, 183 at the cost. 183. That is crazy for this build. It's nuts. It's insane. I love it. I love it. This will be getting morphed to Aggressive Warhorn. I picked it up last night at the last minute before I crashed. So, you know, it was great. Got it. It's done. All right. So I think I didn't get to do one of the dailies yesterday, and I want to go ahead and just get into this. Now, keep in mind that, like I said, the build is not finalized. I have a lot of morph options and things like that I have to take, but I want to show you guys what this baby can do. And I do have the Imperial mount. I have this Imperial costume going on. I really like the theme of it.
Speak to me before entering more nerves.
Okay, now I can go ahead and answer questions. Let me go ahead and open up my app, just so I can see comments and everything. I'm getting there, promise, I promise. Okay, I'm gonna pause that. Morning, Mustang. Morning, Lewis. Morning, Robert. Morning, everybody. Thank you for stopping in. I love you guys. You guys are the best.
Kale stick, spit the vampire.
Okay, Spindle Clutch 2. That's not too bad. I like that.
Your gear done. Then invoke.
Dire Frost. Okay, cool deal. All right, so we're gonna go to Activity Finder. I'm gonna go to Specifics. We're gonna do Spindle Clutch 2, and we'll try to get Dire Frost. Dire Frost pretty easy up until the last boss. Reapply my food buff. I still even have these junk pots going down. Now this is a lot different from my broker build. a lot different. My broker build uses the para set, or para, or however you want to pronounce it, to exchange. So when I exchange health, I gain more resistance. When I exchange stamina, I gain magicka. When I exchange magicka or whatever, I gain stamina. It's the whole build is set up around exchanging, where I don't need shards ever. This build, you might need one or two on an occasion, but it's ideally, now keep in mind, that's why I went with the higher regen. Now when I go ahead, let's get into the CPU points. I didn't do that. I almost like kicked myself in the ass while we're waiting. Okay, Warlord 904, Sprinter 9.17, Tenacity is 707. Keep in mind we're going to be using Magic and Stamina on this build, so we're going 1110 in Arcanist, we're going 909 in Mooncalf. Coming over, I have Shadow Ward at 23, Tumbling at 11. I just wanted that Treasure Hunter unlock, I'll be honest with you. Blessing, we're going to be healing ourselves with that Clan Fear, 8.12. Elemental Expert, 6.17. Spell Erosion, Penetration is a must, 4,210. Nothing into the Atronach. Then we have Mighty at 11.10 and Piercing at 4,835. Very important to put 120 in here. Why? Last Stand. You want that major heroism. This is, an ultimate generating build. 120 has to be must. Ironclad 14.14, Spell Shield 19. Coming over, Hardy and Elemental Defender are split at 909, Thick Skin at 611, Bastion for our self shields 1208. We're going to need a little bit more of the healing received on this, 1208, and Heavy Armor Focus 6, and that is how the champion points are allocated. So really nice. Love this. I love it. This is such a badass build. Okay, so check this out. When I go ahead and hit this and I go in, I'm sitting at 24,704 spell resistance. Keep in mind, when Bloodspawn kicks in, it's going to give me an extra 6k. That pushes us up to around the 30k. Well, I never try to go around the 31 after 31. So it's kind of pointless after having 31,000 resistance. But that's really nice. When I go ahead and pop this, that Bloodspawn procs, we're sitting really pretty at that, little over that 30. Love that. Love that shit. Now also, when I go ahead and use my ward and we go back in, now my magic recovery is at 1,278. Now keep in mind, when I do heavy attacks with the sword and board, it's going to recover stamina, not magicka. Magicka, I'm going to need a little bit more, hence why I usually will swap between my pots as well. So it's really nice. I love the Sorc Tank. When we were first doing trials, now this was before everything got switched over, right? So we were first starting trials. My main guild tank was a Sorc Tank, right? And we were doing vets and everything, and I love when we first started doing the vets and everything. I loved him. Out of all the fucking tanks, like I was like put in scenarios with, everybody's more accustomed to DK, but I loved his Sorc Tank because the Warhorn was just constantly flying, and I'm thinking, man, I can totally make it even better. I mean, he was really good to begin with. He's a badass tank. And I was like, this is impressive. I'm really liking the Sorc Tank. I really like the Sorc Tank. And I'm like, but I bet you I could get faster and even faster Warhorn uptime. I bet you I could do it. And man, can I. Man, you get a good Sorc Tank. No other class has the higher end uptime. You could put a DK in this setup. It's still not going to better. It's still not going to, because that 15% reduction for the Sorc's cost. It's just the way it is. You could put any other class in this identical configuration. Not saying you can't. You can. But is it still going to be as effective? Oh, no. Oh, no, it's not. Because the simple fact of it is the Power Stone passive. It's just that badass. I love it. And then on top of it, you got to think about that too. Also, the way everything's set for the Sorc Tank. Sorc Tank uses more magicka than most tanks in a lot of ways. its shielding system is based on magicka, not health. So, you know, it's a whole different beast when you're looking at build configuration. So that's why I'm always laughing when some people are saying, oh, this is BIS. Well, if it was BIS, it would apply to every class in that role. Well, you know, would I want to put my DK in this? No. Hell no. No, 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 no. His shield system is scaled health. I'm better off with more health in that. And then keep in mind his passives, when he activates an ability, he gets stamina recovery, right? So it's a whole different setup. It's a whole different beast when you're taking a look at tanks and, you know, gear parameters and doing the math. You know, that to me is why I'm always telling people they need to check their math. They really, really do. Love this. Love this shit. He can't kill shit. I'm not gonna lie to you. He's not very good at killing. Is anybody on this morning? It's pretty early. Let me go ahead. I'll queue up the normals too, because I just want to show the build, but I want to do the vet. It's going to be a little hard. That's kind of why I put one sword and one axe, just to make it easier. Just to make it a little easier. Actually, I think I want to go ahead and switch this around a little bit. Or maybe I'll wait. One second. Okay, don't need to be in there. Alright. Like these guys. Yeah, it looks like it could be vet. Warhorn. This is definitely normal. No way. Yep. God, that sucks. Why are we all in normal? Why did these guys queue vet? Okay. Go ahead, Warhorn. Alright. It's too easy. Hate that little bug. Okay, I'm dropping. So everybody drops. Warhorn. Okay. I still don't know why we're not all in vet. I queued both. These guys should have queued vet. So as you guys can see, we're not using a lot of stamina, only for block and taunt. Everything else is magicka based, hence why our magicka has to be a little higher. Typically every other tank gets the opposite rule of thumb. Check out the comment here in a minute. Now, as you guys can see, I'm CCing the melee, keeping them in the back. That gives me a lot of time to taunt. Also prevents my group from getting, you know, like wrecking blowed or anything like that. CC on tanks is very important. Warhorn. That up. Doing a heavy attack between my rotation. Like I said, you'll probably need more mag pots than stam at this build. Last boss just needed debuff. No scroll because it's normal. Warhorn. Keep applying that debuff. Ads come up, we just pick them up. Warhorn. I just want to go ahead and make sure I'm on the right bar. I need when I drop. Okay, let me check out the comments. I'm really liking this build a lot. It's unfortunate I had to queue a normal. Don't know what is up with people these days. So Fang Rush was streaming East. Oh, shut up! Was he? Awesome! So badass. Hey Norman, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Went with the shock on it. I'm a fan of that set. I love the shock. Morning Rock, what's up? Sorc Tank, a bit more complex because you need magicka for shields, health for taking hits, stamina for blocking, and intelligence to know the mechanics. Right. This is our normal. It's unfortunate. Looks that way. Yeah, it'll I don't know how to pronounce your name, but yeah, it'll get the 40k once you get your Undaunted passive. So it is missing that, you know, because of the Undaunted passive isn't unlocked as of yet. But once the Undaunted passive becomes unlocked, you'll get that value increase, correct? Oh my gosh, awesome. Yeah, he has a Twitch channel. I think it's all because of the AoEs. Because Fang has been a huge, like, he has to do a lot of defending himself. He's like limited between, you know, he faces down the barrel of a gun. Fang Rush does. So, like, you'll see him, like, 2 of his dudes defending between, 20, 30, 40 people. And those AoE caps, man, when he was trying to defend on his own, it just made it next to impossible. And it's frustrating when you're trying to keep your troops from having to pull out the forces. And Fang's like, just get rid of the friggin' caps. If I'm defending this or I'm doing this, I shouldn't have to be looking at caps when I got 40 players I've got to contend with. I agree. I'm glad. I'm really happy. I'm so stoked. That's probably my favorite YouTuber because he plays the objective. He uses small forces to accomplish big things for his unit. It's badass. So badass. So badass. I hope he sticks around. Really do. So we got that storm up. We got everything going. This build is really, really fun. I told you guys I would not leave you disappointed. Unfortunately, it was normal. We could have easily done the vet. I mean, with a team like that, there's no reason why we probably shouldn't have been in vet, but unfortunately I don't control the queues. I just wanted to get in here, show you guys this build. This is ridiculous. This is a ridiculous setup for a Sorc Tank. Now keep in mind though, you're limited. Your bar space is going to be limited. That's why Shock's Exoskeleton works with this build. I'm using that clan fear, right? It's giving it has, a taunting effect. It has CC effect. It has a heal to it, but it has to be on both bars. Same as bound armor. Bound armor's huge because it gives me that max magicka from my shield system and also gives me the minor resolve. That is also a very, very important aspect to the build configuration. So you're kind of limited. You're like, where do I get it? Sure, I can go ahead and use the low slash. Sure, it's going to give me the minor heroism and apply minor main. But this build is designed to increase the uptime of your Warhorn and your ultimate regen, and it does exactly that. Can this build be played at endgame? Absolutely. Once you get your Undaunted passives unlocked and you get everything, this is completely endgame worthy. And the only reason I know, because I've rolled with Sorc Tanks that have similar type of builds, and I'm telling you, man, badass. If you know how to play a Sorc Tank, so badass. So badass. Anyways, guys, I want to thank you guys for watching. If anybody has any questions or comments about this build, please post below. I want to thank you all for watching today. I'm Mr. Craven. This is CSO Daily. This is the Generator, and have a nice day.